All right, so I met someone really interesting a couple weeks ago. His name is Robert Rask, and he is the owner and builder at Rask Guitars. Now, I don't know how many people have actually heard of Rask Guitars. I hadn't heard of them until my father-in-law, who does not play guitar and knows next to nothing about guitar, told me about him because he's in my backyard. He's a boutique guitar builder based out of Utah. And that's not to say that there's not more builders in Utah. I mean, actually, I'm going to the Utah Guitar Exhibit tomorrow, which I'm sure will have plenty of builders for me to meet. I'm sure wherever you are, not 20 minutes away from you, there's someone who's doing something guitar related that you should find out about. And that's really what this video is about, is Robert's doing some really cool stuff that people need to know about. So let's listen to a little, and I'll talk a little. It'll be a lot of fun. Now, like anything boutique or custom built, these aren't cheap, but this is kind of the first time that I've looked at something that was custom or boutique and really felt like consistently it was worth the price tag. I used to work at a guitar shop that was consistently getting in Fender customs, Taylor customs, Martin customs, and so I've had a lot of opportunity to play guitars that are worth $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000, and yet this was one where I actually was like, I could see why someone would pay for this over just, your basic D18. And this is, again, why I wanted to talk about Robert. Robert is building guitars with so much heart. I don't think I've ever met someone who has so much passion for memory and for inspiration and for making it so that your guitar is connected to you. Every decision he makes is based around you and what you want, all the way down to what he calls the heart of the guitar, which unfortunately I don't have any footage of, but on the heel block, on the inside of the sound hole for every single guitar he builds, he puts something that is meaningful to the person who's going to own it. So for instance, there was one that was a little Nike sneaker that was, handcrafted, hand done, and made out of wood or other materials and inlaid into that heel block. Next time I get together with him, I'll be sure to get some footage of that. It's also fascinating because he definitely made time for me, and I don't really have a lot to offer him other than this channel. But he made time for me. I went in, we talked. We talked for, I think, like 2 hours, honestly. And then I came back and I started filming, and in the middle of filming, he got a call saying that a buddy of his was bringing through a couple of Nashville artists who were kind of touring through the area and wanted to check out some of his guitars. And almost in an instant, that guitar shop turned into a sacred space where people were playing guitars and talking about their own personal experiences and sharing stories that, you know, you probably only get to on the third date. And there's something about what he's doing that's pulling artistry out of people.
All right, should I keep going? 2, 4, 5.
And on his website, he says that he sees himself as a co-creator, meaning that he is a co-creator with God. He's taking things that were once alive, and with God is creating something that can breathe new life and can take someone else's artistry and push it to something more than what it could be with just any old guitar. Now, I understand that I may lose some of you with that because there's a lot of varying feelings on God and spirituality nowadays, and that's also not to say that I am trying to cram God down anyone's throat, but I think that there's something significant when we start to look outside of ourselves and we start to see the instruments that we play as pieces of art that can be utilized as a piece of art as well as a tool. That was something that Robert and I got to talk about, was how I've told this story on another video that you can watch here, which is about my 1959 ES-125T Gibson. And when I first laid eyes on that guitar, I knew that it belonged to me. I knew that it was mine, and I knew I needed to buy it no matter what the cost was. Now, luckily, I got it for a really good deal, but the crazy thing is that I had to buy it without strings on it because the neck was actually detached from the body. And essentially, while it wasn't even functioning at that time, I didn't know if when it got put back together, it would be functioning. So I had to take a risk, but there was something in me and something in the air. I describe it as like, you know, the wand chooses the wizard, the hair gets blown back, there's lights and all that stuff. That's what it felt like when I saw that guitar. And to find a builder who understands that that's what the goal is for players is honestly incredible. like I said, these Nashville players, they were able to play these guitars and they loved them. So much so that Robert let them borrow, I think, like 3 or 4 guitars for their show that was the following night. And so they went up there with these guitars that weren't their own because they would have rather played his guitars rather than play their own that they had brought.
So why would I ever make a bed I sleep in alone? If we ain't together, I'll just let those dishes go. And I just know that hanging my clothes in a half-empty closet would be too painful. Why would I ever use a coaster when you already left your ring there on the table?
What I also found interesting was that there were guitars that I picked up, and while I didn't pick up a single bad guitar, I didn't necessarily vibe with every single one of them, but then others I just connected with immediately. And I found that those other players, who were incredible players in their own right, were picking up the guitars that I didn't care for, and they were falling in love with those. And so, again, it speaks to this idea of an understanding that some guitars have a life and have a force in them that just kind of works with the artist. So he's building guitars, he's doing his thing. There are definitely people who are purchasing them, and it's turning heads, not just in my local community, but there are artists such as the original guitarist for Smash Mouth, the original guitarist for Train, and many other people who are turning their heads towards this builder because he's making waves, he's having success wherever he is. Every single player that seems to pick up a guitar of his understands that there's something more there than just great craftsmanship. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd actually love to get him on the channel and interview him, because he's got a lot of really interesting insight into the building process and into the idea of creation and art and that sort of thing. And that's what fascinates me, is for him, it's not just a craft, it is an art, which art and craftsmanship go hand in hand more often than we think. And the problem is sometimes we have people who lean too far into the craft side and some people who lean too far into the art side, and they get a little unbalanced. He's kind of really balanced in understanding that there needs to be some incredible craftsmanship and some incredible artistry, and that those two need to work hand in hand. Why talk about it? Honestly, I don't know. It's one of those things where you're walking around the shop and you're looking at all the different things that are happening and all the work that's being done and his workflow and the people who are stopping by to check on their guitars or to even help him work on their guitars so they can kind of have a little bit of influence on it, or even, people who just stop in and play the guitars and fall in love with them. To me, it feels like you're kind of at the beginning of something special. And so I kind of just wanted to make this video and say, I was there. And while I have no idea where Rask Guitars will be in 20 years, I do think that there's something really special happening at Rask Guitars, and I'm very intrigued by this boutique builder mindset and craftsmanship and all this stuff, and I just love it. So if you are a boutique builder of anything, electric, acoustic, pedals, amps, reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you about it. I'm not looking for handouts or anything like that. I'm fascinated by it, and I love the idea of people who have found ways to be creative and artistic with what they build. Feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you think they sound. They're all beautiful, obviously. I mean, they're works of art. Like I said, they're absolutely astonishing guitars to look at, to play. It's awesome. We'll sign off. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the channel. Go make someone else's day better. Please like and subscribe if you're new here, and we will see you around.